The quick answer is yes. It was absolutely beneficial, and from two perspectives. I'm part of a larger co-author team. There's 5 co-authors on this paper, some of whom are rather senior and have done this a very long time. And yet they found it very valuable to have feedback from 2 reviewers that, in a sense, were only professionally giving their best advice versus having a gatekeeping role or trying to figure out how to show the weaknesses of the paper for the purposes of, trimming the flow of submissions, as journal reviewers sometimes have to do. And so we benefited from objective feedback that came from 2 very different perspectives. And I think that was a strength, that the 2 reviewers were not coming at it from the same point of view. And then, of course, I'm a much more junior researcher. And for me, this was the first time that we engaged, and I was part of an engagement in open dialogue that was all going to be out in the public view. And so you have to understand where the reviewers come from and also acknowledge that engaging in that dialogue is part of the learning process. And I think that for me was very valuable. Absolutely. And I think I would be very interested in having future working papers of mine evaluated, but I'd also be interested in being a reviewer. I think it's an exercise in being intellectually honest. And we need that. And we benefit from that overall. And look, proof will be in the pudding when the paper, fingers crossed, gets published, hopefully soon. But I think if you will look at the paper at the time, retroactively, you will see that it has become a better product as a result of it. It was similar to what I had expected because I had gone through multiple rounds for other projects of engaging with more traditional double-blind reviewers. I had 2 initial, not concerns, but questions, being the first time I was engaging. One was, is the quality going to be good? Are the people you select to provide feedback going to, and this is an idiosyncrasy of this particular paper, it's a complex, large, complicated data project with a lot of moving parts, a 60+ page appendix. It's not an easy read. And so I was wondering, are they going to take the time, understand, give feedback, and provide the kind of developmental pushback that will be helpful? The other one was, is it going to take forever to try to respond? And the answer was yes and no. So yes, the feedback, the quality of the reviewers was high. I would say it's on par with the best journals I've ever received feedback at. And then the time, possibly this is also because there wasn't a gatekeeping aspect. It wasn't our exercise of responding, from my perspective at least. I don't want to speak for my co-authors, but in this perspective. But from my perspective, it was, what is the intellectual response that addresses this? And maybe I don't need to worry about coaxing my reviewer into liking me in the process, because this is all about the subject matter and not about personality. And the bias isn't there from my perspective, and I hope not from the feedback writers either. And so it was a lot easier. Imagine a world where a job market paper that has gone through the process of being on the market, now therefore is a solid manuscript, needs that little bit of objective, impartial, outside feedback before being submitted to a target journal. I think the encouragement should be focused on young scholars. I would say you fill a gap.